Hey there, greetings everybody. I want to welcome you all here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I am the host of this channel. Before we get started in it, I just want to apologize for last night's episode of What's New. I was just getting ready to put it out when the guy showed up with my new desk, and I decided that I was going to put that together first. And then by the time I did that, there was no time for the video. So we will go back to it start next week, but now have everything I need. New desk, new lights, new location, everything's perfect. So we're here tonight to do an episode of the new Prog albums, which will feature the album from Crownlands Apocalypse. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Crownlands, they are a Canadian band from Toronto, two-member band. So this album was released on May the 15th, 2026, about almost 42 and a half minutes in length on the Inside Out music label and produced by Crownlands David Bottrell and Nick Raskulens. I think that's how you say his name. The band consists of two members, Cody Bowles on vocals, drums, percussion, nave flute, and pentatonic flute. I believe that's how you say it. Kevin Comey on 6 and 12 string electric and acoustic guitars, bass, mini Moog synthesizers, Taurus pedals, and Mellotron. This album, so like Greta Van Fleet, who has that very Led Zeppelin sound, Crownlands definitely has a very Rush-like sound. The music is heavy like Rush, earlier Rush anyways. The vocalist, believe it or not, is actually higher in the vocal range than Geddy Lee is. It's pretty obvious when you hear him. I don't know how he keeps his voice at the height he has. I've heard very few, if any, vocalists with as higher range as this guy. Anyways, I enjoyed this album a lot. I was going to order it online, and then I looked it up, and they do have it at the record store, so I'll be picking that up tomorrow. If I'd known that, I would have picked it up prior to this, but I didn't know that. So as a result, we are here today to talk about this album. It has a total of 7 tracks on it, including the side-long, or what I would have called the side-long epic of 19 minutes, but it is at the back of the album as opposed to Rush's 2112 at the front of the album. So it starts out with the proclamation. But before we get into breaking the songs down, just want to tell you, like this album has a lot of different stuff going on. It's almost heavy metal in a lot of ways. It has a very heavy metal sound, at least a classic heavy metal sound. The guy's vocals are very forward and off the charts, really. Don't think there's anybody really kind of sounds like this out there. Instrumentation is really good. These guys are exceptionally gifted at the instruments they play, both of them. I think that the music's well put together. It's crafted very well. It has a lot of interesting guitar solos, a multitude of different styles of guitar on the album, as well as really well put together, interesting songs that are both catchy and like really well. The guitar and the solos are really great too. And they definitely have that Rush sound going on. I can see why some people would take to this band immediately. I did. After the first couple tracks, I was hooked. And I look forward to getting this album. Now, they have a couple of other albums, I believe. This is kind of like a third part. I think there's the most recent one and then one before that. I could be wrong on this, but that's what my understanding is. So we're going to start by breaking these songs down a bit. So the opening track is called Proclamation. This is basically a short instrumental track with some wind noises and a quiet kind of somber synthesizer part at the beginning. It blows up into a symphonic opening with some keyboards entries here. and it got a little bit of an operatic sound to it, even though there's no vocals on it. So opening track, really good. Next up is Foot Soldier of the Syndicate. So the opening track kind of winds into it. Not short at all. It's about 4 minutes, a little more than 4 minutes in length. Nice, catchy, up-tempo guitar with some heavy, some kind of a heavy part to it as well. The vocals are super high here and somewhat screechy, like almost to the point where he's almost screaming. The riff is heavy, catchy. The solo is very high-end as far as the noise and sounds go. The vocals have a high end, even with a slower, low part sound in it, but still really good. This is a pretty good song. I was hooked by the time I heard this song. Next up is Through the Looking Glass. Nice acoustic, soft guitar part at the beginning. Vocals very high range with more. It's got some medium fills in it. Medium for him, though, is probably high range for everybody else. Nice, heavy, beefy guitar riff in the song. A melodic but heavy track with some synthesizers, but not dominated by synthesizers. I'm not really catching a lot of synthesizers while I'm listening to it. So they're kind of there giving fill, but not really dominating the song. The next track out is called Black Star. Heavy melodic guitar part. The vocals, once again, in a range few can touch here. Few vocalists are going to be able to reach the range he has here. A nice catchy melody and riff. Interesting bass and guitar solo here. It's kind of melodic and heavy and fast. Both of them are pretty predominant, like something you would find in a Rush song, where you've got the bass part and the guitar part are very distinct, very open. Next up is The Fall. So this particular song, a little bit different than some of the other songs on the album. Nice heavy guitar solo, melodic, right at the beginning, but it has a Floyd guitar sound to it, and almost a rhythm that sounds like something you would get off of the wall. That's what it reminded me of. The vocals are elf-like. They're so high in pitch. Squeaky and high, and definitely in a range beyond what most people can get. The solo, again, melodic, heavy, beefy, high end. Really good. This is one of the better tracks on the album. In fact, this album got better as it went along, and I don't know if it's because the songs were better as it went along, or I just got more accustomed to their sound and then was not really listening for different stuff, but started to just enjoy it. The next is Revenants, the longest track of what I would call the front side of the album. Opens with a nice acoustic guitar part. The vocals are high, clear, and very forward here. Some synthesizer sounds in the background, kind of giving it some fill here. The most dominant part of this song is definitely the vocals, very high registry again. Then we get to the back track, or what I would call the epic song on the album. It's coincidentally also the title track. I always wondered why bands wouldn't put the title track, especially if it's the epic length, at the front of the album like Rush did with 2112, but I guess some people want to put their smaller stuff in there first to get people hooked. Not necessarily a bad idea. This is clearly my favorite song on the album. Nice synthesizer and spacey intro to the song. Not too dissimilar from 2112. It doesn't sound like 2112 at all, but has that same thing going on, that synthesizer, spacey feel to the front of the track. Nice heavy guitar riff here. Drum fills just take off, like he just goes ballistic on the drums here. A nice melodic guitar part with some secondary riffs going on as well. The drums are very forward and very dominant on this particular track. Maybe this track may be the best instrumentation on the album. They're pushing the envelope here. A multitude of guitar sounds. Nice solo part is dominant. He's using multiple different guitars, some acoustic stuff here, some electric with different ranges. There might even be like a 12 string in here somewhere. I'm not hearing it, but I think it could be in there. The solo was really good. Some interesting guitar and bass driven sounds throughout this entire track. The vocals, as always, very high range, but very strong, with a ton of emotion and clarity to them. More clarity on this one than on some of the other tracks, but definitely really good. Multitude of voices and sounds, and song speed as the song speeds up. There's some talking stuff going on here, some other vocal parts going on here, backing vocals if you want. I'm sure it's the same guy, but he also has his high range stuff as well. The synthesizers and keys give it this kind of spacey feel to the song. Not too dissimilar again from 2112, although once again it doesn't sound like 2112 at all, but has a lot of the same kind of stuff going on that it was on 2112. It ends with this kind of wind or spacey feel to it as well. I thought this was an absolute killer track, and if it was the only track on the album, I would buy it anyway. So definitely an album that I'm going to get. I enjoyed this even more than the Syrinx album, when I liked Syrinx quite a bit, but I think these guys are just a little bit more, these guys are more proggy, more instrumentally driven than they were, and maybe not as metal sounding. But overall, excellent album. I highly recommend it. Crownlands Apocalypse is the album. So I hope to have it during the week, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want to leave any comments about this band, by all means do so. If you want to talk about this particular album, you can. This is my first experience with the band. I've known about them for a bit, but kind of put it off for a bit for some reason. I'm not really sure why. But definitely going to be an album that's going to be reckoned with for the top albums of the year for this category. So anyways, take care. Have yourself a good evening, and goodbye here from the Prog Monster.